Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Moving the Chains with Ashmere here on this Halloween. As you can tell, I'm dressed up today for this episode. I first want to start off with talking about the ESPN Women's Summit. Tomorrow we will be doing a live stream on the Nuts and Bolts Instagram, so it'd be great if everybody tuned in and checked it out. We'll be doing it around 5:45 Pacific Standard Time, so it would be great for everybody to check us out here on our social handle and then watch Marissa and I talk about our experience at the ESPN Women's Summit in Pelican Beach in Orange County. I kept calling it LA, but I was in Orange County and I'm from the Bay Area, so I didn't really understand the importance of knowing where I was, but it was so beautiful. I mean, like, the scenery was just undescribable. It was super hot, like unbearably hot actually. It was like 90 degrees every day, and that was a lot, but you know, it was just great food, great atmosphere, great people, great panels. I mean, it was put on beautifully. It was their 10th anniversary, so everybody that was there was just like really highlighting how important it has been since ESPN Women have been doing this for 10 years. And Laura Gentili talked about her first year when she put it on and how she came up with the idea. Ella May performed on the first day.
Yeah, feelings so deep in my feelings. You're the same, really like me. Can't control my anxiety. Feeling like I'm touching the ceiling. When I'm with you, I can't breathe. Will you do something to me? Let me hear you sing it.
I mean, like, the list goes on and on, but I was basically just starstruck every day and trying not to act like a fangirl out there. And Robin Roberts spoke on our last night.
Well, because it makes me think of my mama. Because my mama, when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you're looking, that you realize that you were looking at the state bowling junior champion from Mississippi when I was 12 years old. Because that's the only thing they let girls do at that time. So I took up bowling and I did really well. But my dear mother, when I would come in and go, Mama, they not letting, you know, I said, and she'd go, oh, honey, everybody's got something. You know, everybody's got something.
Yeah.
And that kind of stayed with me when I was going through my challenges. And don't compare your despair. Everybody's got something.
The food was amazing. I mean, it was just like, I don't have enough good things to say about the entire experience. I'm super grateful to have been able to attend. It was the 10th year for the ESPN Women's Summit that they hosted, and they were just talking about how so much had changed from the first time that they did it. So definitely would appreciate it if you guys tuned in, and let's get on with some college football. The first game will be the Oklahoma Sooners versus the Kansas State Wildcats, and the Sooners were actually projected to win by 24 points, and they lost by 7. A very offensively heavy game for Kansas State. I mean, within the last 13 minutes of the game, they were leading by... Within the last 13 minutes of the second half, Kansas State was leading 48-23. Like, that's a huge lead against a previously number 5 team on the AP poll, and Kansas State isn't even ranked, and I feel like that's just happening for the last 3 weeks. There have been unranked teams beating ranked teams, and you know, I feel like that's just very likely to happen in college football. But the quarterbacks each scored their own pair of touchdowns. You know, in the first half, it looked like this game was just going to continuously be evenly matched, and then once the halftime hit and third quarter, Kansas State came a lot heavier offensively. Their defense also was putting a lot of pressure on Oklahoma, and there was a blitz going on, and there was just a lot of different... They were being very versatile on the defensive end and making sure that it was hard for the QB of Oklahoma to even get the ball down the field. So Sooners scored 18 points in the fourth quarter, and then they tried to win the game with an onside kick, but unfortunately the ball grazed against the Oklahoma, one of their receivers, and it was a penalty. and so the ball was eventually just turned over and the game was over. So great game by Kansas State. Oklahoma actually moved down to 10 on the AP poll now, and the Ducks have moved up, to 7. Of course, the next game I'm going to talk about is the Oregon game versus the Washington State game. I do not believe this was Herbert's best performance offensively. The Oregon defense played spectacularly. CJ Verdell was the top player of the game. He had more yards than Herbert had thrown the entire game. I mean, he did leave a little bit in the third quarter injured because, I mean, the guy was banged up. He was doing so much work on the field, and it was so apparent. He was basically the only person that Herbert was giving the ball to initially, and so then after he had come off, I think Herbert realized like he needed to be more versatile with the rest of his team. And so eventually, thankfully, the Ducks pulled through. I really got to put it on the defense. They were not allowing Washington State to get a first down. You know, every time they had him 3rd and out just so Herbert could get the ball back and get the ball down the field. And he did do a little bit like of a, you know, like an old school QB thing. Like he turned up the heat in the end because he threw a deep pass down the field, got them closer to the end zone, and then in the end they kicked that field goal. So good job by the Ducks. This week they play USC in USC, and so I feel like for them, USC is... I feel like the Pac-12 teams always come harder against each other, and USC is not playing poorly, but they're not playing their best. And so if the Ducks play the way that they did this week, Herbert's going to have some problems because he's going to be playing catch-up all over again as he did on Saturday night. So good game by the Ducks, but they definitely need to clean up a little bit. And all right, everyone, we're going to do a new take on the NFL segment because I have my co-host, maybe he'll return after this, I don't know, but it's my cousin, my cameraman, my football
producer,
my football assistant, my fact checker, Ranesh.
Hello everyone.
Ranesh just graduated from UC Riverside. Okay, if you're hiring, hook a guy up.
No. Okay.
He's got an econ degree and he's ready for work. So in his spare time, he likes to play soccer, kick it, and talk shit about football with me. So let's just keep it pushing here. So first off, Ranesh is a Niner fan.
Yes.
So let's start off with the Niners.
Yes. Completely dominated that game.
I mean, did you predict they're going to win?
Yeah. No, I totally thought they were going to win. I knew the defense was going to hold up really well, but the offense was... I didn't know how they were going to show up, but they really did show up, 51 points. So, like, their running game opens up everything. So, with the running game, it opens up the passing game. That's the way Kyle Shanahan works.
Yeah.
So, like, he schemes up everything. If the running game's working, like, they're pretty much unstoppable.
Definitely. And I feel like coming against a Carolina second-string QB who has been playing very well. You got to give Kyle Allen props where he's been doing. But, you know, it's hard to only have one key player on the running game, Christian McCaffrey, and then one receiving person, and then your quarterback who's still kind of getting his feet wet. So, and the Niners are just like on this hype of playing so well. You know, I feel like
Bosa's been unreal.
Yeah.
He's either gonna win. He's definitely gonna win. I feel like at this point he's gonna win Rookie of the Year, and he's in the running for defensive.
Yeah, I believe he
Player
should.
I feel like for Rookie of the Year he pretty much has it on lock.
Yeah, Bosa with those 3 sacks and an interception against the Panthers, it was an all-star game from the Niners, and now they have a short week. So how do you predict the game's going to be against Arizona in Arizona with their new Kenyon Drake on the roster, you know?
It should be really interesting.
Shakes it up, honestly.
Yeah, it should be a really interesting game. I feel like with Kyler Murray, it's going to be like their first real mobile quarterback. So we'll see how that defensive line does.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like he'll get some good deep passes. Honestly, I like Kyler Murray. I think he's playing very well for his first year. Really yeah. I feel like eventually they'll definitely be a threat. And for their first season, he's very good. So I feel like it'll be a good game, but they will lose, and I project like a low-scoring game.
You think? Yeah. I feel like it'll be a low-scoring game. It depends how
no one above 27 points.
Yeah, it could be 27, yeah.
But you don't know. They just scored 51.
Yeah. I did not
51 for no reason, may I say. 51, like, they literally, there should be, like, a cutoff. Like, but then the game has to continue, so whatever. But, yeah, that was a good game. I feel like Week 8 was full of dominations. Like, each game, if you look at the comparisons, the Jaguars beat Jets 29-15. Rams came in and beat the Bengals. which I actually believe the Bengals played pretty well compared to how they've played in the past 7 weeks. Personally, I don't know if you really watch Bengals games. I feel like nobody does because Andy Dalton's like having his worst season of the year, and so it's kind of hard to watch him struggle, especially when he's got like one of the best receivers that he could work with, and it's hard for him to get the ball down the field. And he's like the third most sacked QB. He's got 29 sacks. He's just like, he's rough, right? It's hard. And now he's been benched for Ryan Finley, who went to North Carolina State. And I was watching his highlights, and he plays pretty well. You know, he's mobile, just like Kyler Murray. I'm not saying Andy's old. I just feel like after a while, you get very comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah, it's time for a new team.
It resembles in the way he plays, right? It's like like I said, he's getting sacked all the time. The D-line's closing in on him very quickly. Like the blitz, that beats him. He's beat on that every time. It's hard. You could tell it's hard for him to get the ball anywhere. So they're on a bye this week, actually. So that gives Finley some more time to practice and then come back. And then they play. And they're playing the Ravens with my boy Lamar Jackson. You know, he's like, I hope he keeps winning because I root for him every week.
So dynamic.
I love him.
So dynamic.
He's so exciting to watch, right? Just like how people love watching Patrick Mahomes, even though they hate rooting for him. It's like, and his team is full of so much fire. I don't know. He's a great quarterback and great leader, just like I was explaining for Kyler Murray. Oh, next week the Ravens take on the Patriots.
That's a good game.
That will be a good game.
Is that a Monday night game?
It's a
Sunday night.
No.
Oh, like
it is a Sunday night.
It is the Sunday night
Sunday
game?
night game,
Sunday night
yeah.
game. That should be a really good game.
What do you predict out of that? What do I predict out of that? Shoot, I really hope. We all know Lamar's gonna lose.
Well, yeah. I mean, but it's at home. It's in Baltimore, right? Yeah, it's in Baltimore. So they have a good chance. You never know.
Home field advantage is a real thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good test for this Patriots defense, though.
Who has been dominating in
Yes.
fantasy. Yeah, the Patriots defense against his offense. And the Ravens rushing game is very good.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson, so dynamic.
He's his own rushing game.
Yes.
Right? Okay, yeah.
Mark Ingram, too. Like,
definitely,
it's really good.
Definitely. I feel like this will be a fun game. I'm rooting for Lamar.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Lamar, too.
Well, I know you're like a Niner, but, you know, you can you not root for other teams?
No, you can root for other teams. Certain players.
But you support more.
Yeah.
What, like, I'm a bandwagoner, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna own it here. Here on Moving the Chains. I'm gonna let everybody know Ashmere is a bandwagoner. I root for people more than teams.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, that happens. You
Yeah,
root for
I feel
players.
like as somebody that's so interested in the sport, you want to see certain people succeed, right? Like, it sucks that Patrick Mahomes is with the Chiefs because Raiders are in the same division as them, but, like, I want him to succeed, right? I'm not saying I don't want Derek Carr to succeed, but it's more likely that Patrick Mahomes will kick ass compared to Derek Carr, so.
Yeah, way more likely.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you root for him. But yeah, okay, so I predict if the Ravens could win, right, if they could, the crowd really wins in, like, it plays a factor in how they play, I think the score will be, like, 27-35. Like a whole touchdown.
Yeah, I mean,
Or it could be
win by whole
3.
touchdown?
Yeah. I mean, I would like that to be the score, right?
I feel like the Ravens will not score that many
35 points?
Yeah, because that Patriots defense is really good.
Yeah, I feel like to make their mark. All right, what's your prediction? The Patriots win?
Yeah, I think the Patriots are going to win. But I feel like it's going to be a really close game. So maybe like 20-17, maybe Patriots. I don't know. It could be a defensive battle. Well, no, I don't know. Because the Patriots offense, their offensive line hasn't been doing that well. So we'll see how that turns out.
But they just got Sanu in the receiving.
Yeah, they did get Sanu in the receiving.
Sorry.
Yeah, they get Sanu, but it'll be interesting. Like, the offense has been a little shaky. The defense has really been carrying it, but it'll be an interesting
Yeah, the
game.
defense has, like, as many touchdowns as, like, more touchdowns than some running backs, like, in the whole
like
season.
6 touchdowns or something like that, yeah.
Exactly. So, that'll be cool. Okay, and the last game we'll go over, it was obviously the Sunday night game, which was Packers and Chiefs. How did you feel?
Crazy game from Aaron Rodgers. Vintage Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, vintage Aaron Rodgers, for sure.
But it was
I
really,
agree.
really interesting to see Kansas City keep up with him, though. It was really cool to see
I
that.
feel defensively Kansas City has gotten a lot better since like week 3 or 4 when I first talked about Kansas City when they had lost against the Colts. I said that their defense could not hold back because that was like a weird loss for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, now it seems like they've gotten a lot better, and I mean, it's still Aaron Rodgers. It's hard
Aaron Rodgers,
it's hard to compete against him for sure. When they were doing the little dance, Kelsey and them, did you think the Chiefs were gonna win?
No, well, I mean, I didn't think they were gonna win, but it was really surprising to see them go blow for blow with Aaron Rodgers, even with Matt Moore as their quarterback.
Yeah, I know. Matt Moore is very surprising. I think he played well.
Yeah, no, they played really well.
For a sub game, it was. If they were playing anybody else, I think they would have won. If it was any other team.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Especially that throw Aaron Rodgers had it in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, when he was
fading
falling.
backwards to the right.
And Jamal's like
Williams.
in the tip corner, like literally.
It was a great
last
catch.
2 feet.
And that's like vintage Aaron Rodgers right there as well.
Yeah, it took
Making
some.
plays out
I
of
think he
nothing.
was holding back. Like I feel like in the beginning of the year he's like, oh, I'm just gonna salty a little bit, sprinkle out my tricks, and keep winning, right? And let the defense shine. And now all of a sudden he's like, okay, bro, let me just show you how it really works. And he just showed up. Like when you see star players, right, dancing on the sideline, assuming that they've got a W in the bag, and all of a sudden it's like when you're watching Peyton Manning and like the old Eli Manning and all of them like play, and they're just like, oh, I'm down by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
like
time to turn it up
I
a
need to
little
turn.
bit,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let me turn the heat back up.
Yeah.
So yeah, very good game. I think Green Bay is playing. Oh, the Chargers. Who
Playing the
cares?
Chargers is a disappointing team.
Yeah.
So much talent.
I'm
but
surprised Phillip Rivers is still, like a lot of the veteran QBs are kind of being replaced. So I'm like, are they going to give Phillip the same benching
Well, I mean, like with
conversation?
Chargers, it's so many injuries, so many like.
Yeah.
But, like, there's still so much talent. It's just a weird situation. They did just fire their offensive coordinator though.
Yeah. This is the first year I felt like the Chargers. Same with the Bengals. Like they've had the weirdest years. Like they've never felt like a lesser team that's in the NFL. They've always been like a contender.
The Chargers have always, I think, like fallen flat. I would say.
I guess last year because they went to the playoffs, right? So you're like reflecting on that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like always, like they have so much potential. Chargers in their preseason and like before the season starts, and like you think like they have so much talent and all that. But when it comes to the season, like they'd always fall flat in some way.
Yeah.
Whether it's injuries or just not performing.
Yeah, I guess that's right. I'm kind of trying to think back. Oh, my bad. I'm just thinking back. Like I said, I feel like I'm just thinking of last year when they were just like at the peak. Like it was like almost like you were imagining Phillip to come back this year and just kind of pull a Drew Brees and be like, I'm not going to let that happen to me again. I want to prove that I belong in the Super Bowl, but it's been a tough year for them. Yeah, like you said, a ton of injuries, a ton of just like miscommunication on the field, and like I feel like Phillip is just looking a little sloppy. So we'll see what happens with him. And then I mean, going against Aaron, they're in LA. I don't think that'll help at all.
No,
because
they
don't even like them.
There's no fans
they don't
in
even
LA.
like the Chargers in LA, so it'll suck.
It's definitely a away game for them.
Yeah, it's time for I was gonna say it's gonna be more green than yellow, even though they're both yellow and green. Or they're blue?
It's blue and yellow, green and yellow. Yeah.
It's yellow, but yeah. So for my fourth and flop this week, I had 2. I was tied for 2, right?
Yeah.
We kind of talked about it. The first one that I was considering was when the Titans tried to fake a punt, and his poor kicker got pummeled.
Killed.
By the Buccaneers. But I think I'm going to go with the fourth and flop from the Chicago and the Chargers game, because this was a game-winning field goal, and the Bears are just notorious for having a kicker that messes stuff up, and he messed this up. So,
again, from pretty close too.
Yeah, it was like it should have been a done deal.
Yeah.
They should have won by those 2 points, but instead he just flails it, misses it, and then somehow the Chargers come up with the win. And now, poor guy, the poor Bears. I feel bad. And next week the Bears are playing the Eagles, so
that should be an interesting game.
That should be okay. Bears defense. Actually, I think it'll test Carson.
Yeah.
The defense is hard.
I feel like the Bears defense, Khalil Mack has been pretty.
Well, yeah, number 1, RIP to the Raider, Khalil Mack. Not like for real, because he's not dead. But yeah, he is a beast in the back. But I also just
but he hasn't been performing. I don't think.
He's been silent.
Yeah.
He might come out this week. I think
know.
you can tell Carson. Good defenses make Carson nervous. The Eagles just played the Bills defense, which was pretty tough. So now they're going to come against another tough defense. I don't think it's equivalent to the Bills anymore.
Yeah, but it'll be a pretty tough challenge.
Yeah.
The Bills defense is pretty solid.
I mean,
but yeah.
I'm sure the Eagles are still going to win.
Yeah, I feel like they should.
But it'll probably beat up the Eagles even more. Because they're already, I feel like they're already banged up.
Yeah.
Like the Bears are gonna play hard, but their offense sucks, so it won't. Their possession
Black hole.
time will be short.
Yeah, black hole of offense.
Yeah.
Trubisky is horrible.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Black hole of offense.
Yeah.
It's just like you never know nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me.
Yep.
And maybe he'll be back next week. I don't know. We're back with the Omaha.
She from 5 to 3 to 1. Who does like
I
that?
think she was ignoring the even numbers. I
It's
don't
because Peyton Manning says Omaha.
know. No,
No,
we were talking
you
about
like
your
5,
countdown.
3, 1.
5, 3. What? You know
Can I
what?
go
Okay.
like 5,